What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your old stars, and we received some massive WNBA free agency news as 10-time All-Star Nneka Ogwumike announced that she is returning to the LA Sparks, the franchise that she spent 12 seasons with and won a championship with in 2016. And after speculation that she would be joining the Minnesota Lynx, she decided to come back home because, in the words of Dorothy, there's no place like home. And let's be honest, she never wanted to leave. She wanted to spend her entire career with the Sparks organization, but she left because they were in a rebuild and she didn't want to be a part of it. You know, at that point, she was 34 years old. She was a veteran player. She had won a championship before, and she didn't want to be stuck on a rebuilding team. She wanted to be a part of a team that would give her a great chance to compete for championships, and that's why in 2024 she left the Sparks to join the Seattle Storm to team up with Jewel Lloyd and Skylar Diggins, because she felt like they were going to give her a great chance to compete for championships. But unfortunately, that never came to fruition, as they never advanced past the first round of the playoffs in her 2 years there. And so we all knew that she wasn't going to be returning to the Seattle Storm. As I stated a few seconds ago, a lot of people thought she was going to be joining the Minnesota Lynx. And I think a lot of people are surprised that she's returning to the LA Sparks. But here's the thing, y'all. The Sparks have gone from rebuild to reload, because in 2024, when she left the organization, they were in rebuild mode. They had 2 top 5 draft picks in the 2024 draft, and they selected Cameron Brink out of Stanford and Rickea Jackson out of Tennessee. And at that point, we all thought that they were going to be building their team around Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson. And, you know, both of those young ladies played incredibly well in their rookie season. You know, the Sparks didn't have a ton of success that year. They only won 9 games, but we still knew that they were in rebuild mode, and we knew that they had 2 young players that could really, you know, bring their franchise back to greatness. But then last year, y'all, they shocked everyone when they acquired Kelsey Plum, because, again, many of us thought that they were really going to build their franchise around Rickea Jackson and Cameron Brink. So when they brought in Kelsey Plum last year, that already was a signal to us that they were looking to compete sooner rather than later. And they almost made the playoffs last year, right? They're only 2 games shy of clinching a final spot in the playoffs. And so I expected that they were going to make a pretty big move this offseason, because, again, y'all, you don't acquire a player like Kelsey Plum when you're supposed to be in rebuild mode if you're not seriously trying to win, you know, immediately. And obviously we knew they weren't going to, you know, immediately be championship contenders last year, because although they had Kelsey Plum, Dearica Hamby, you know, Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson, still young players. Obviously Cameron Brink was coming off her ACL injury, so we knew they weren't going to be championship contenders last year. But again, y'all, I felt like coming into this offseason, they were going to look to make a big move to really improve and upgrade their roster. And, man, they have done it in the master ways. Again, y'all, Nneka Ogwumike is back in the purple and gold. And I absolutely love this, because I know Nneka Ogwumike is 36, y'all, but she is still one of the best players in the WNBA, one of the best two-way players in the WNBA. She's incredibly versatile. She's a great defender, a really good shooter, has a really good post game. She's a really good rebounder, and she's a really good passer. I mean, she does everything at an incredibly high level. And now you have a big 3 of her, Kelsey Plum, and Dearica Hamby, y'all. I mean, I think they're going to be one of the best big 3s in the WNBA, and you still have Cameron Brink. Now, it's going to be very interesting, I should say, to see what they're going to do with Rickea, because obviously there's a ton of rumors out there. They're thinking about trading her to the Chicago Sky to acquire Ariel Atkins, which, honestly, y'all, that probably would be a better fit for them, because when I look at the Sparks team that's currently constructed, I think the one glaring problem that this team has is their lack of a 3-and-D shooting guard that can play next to Kelsey Plum. When you look at Ariel Atkins, she is one of the best 3-and-D shooting guards in the league. So I actually think that would be a great fit for them, y'all. But I think it's currently constructed that the Sparks are the 5th best team in the WNBA. I think the Lynx, the Aces, the Liberty, and Dream are better than them. But let's see what transpires. Again, they might be acquiring Ariel Atkins, and then we don't know what other moves they might make in free agency. I think they need to go out and get a backup point guard and a backup center, because Azrae Stevens announced that she's going to be leaving. So they definitely need to add some depth to their guard and center rotation. But again, y'all, it's currently constructed, I think they're the 5th best team in the WNBA, and I definitely think they can compete for a championship. Again, you have a big three of Dearica Hamby, Nneka Ogwumike, and Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum, she's a great scorer. Dearica Hamby's a really good scorer and rebounder. And then Nneka Ogwumike, she's just a great all-around player. So I think they're going to complement each other very well, y'all. And I just expect them to be a great team heading into this season. And again, I'm just super excited that Nneka Ogwumike is back in the Sparks jersey because, again, she should have never left. But I understood why she left. She didn't want to be a part of a rebuilding team. And at that point, the Sparks were truly in rebuild mode, y'all. But, I mean, they really accelerated their rebuild. They have totally transformed their roster. And, again, they're going to be one of the better teams in the WNBA next season. And it's going to be incredibly exciting to see what other moves they can make to make this team better. And, y'all, if they do acquire Ariel Atkins, then I really think they would definitively be championship contenders. Right now, they're going to be a really good team. But again, I think they really need to get a very good 3-and-D guard that can play without the ball next to Kelsey Plum. Because obviously Kelsey Plum, Nneka Ogwumike, and Dearica Hamby are going to have the ball in their hands a lot. So that's why I don't think, bringing in another ball dominant guard would make a lot of sense. I think they need to go out and get a 3-and-D guard that plays well without the ball, and Ariel Atkins definitely would fit that description. And also, y'all, and I hadn't even mentioned her, but they still have Cameron Brink, one of the best young players in the WNBA. So this roster looks very good right now. Again, I know they're going to add some more players too, but it's currently constructed. I really love where they're headed, and just so happy to see Nneka Ogwumike back, y'all, because normally, when legends return to their former teams, it's at the end of their career when they're no longer great. That's normally how it happens. Like, in 2015 when KG returned to the Minnesota Timberwolves and everyone was excited about it, but at that point, KG wasn't the same player that he used to be, y'all. But with Nneka Ogwumike, she is still an elite player. She's still one of the top players in the WNBA. So this is just great to see that she's back in the Sparks uniform. And I'm telling y'all, they're going to be one of the better teams in the WNBA. And they're definitely going to be able to compete for a championship. And Nneka Ogwumike, welcome home. So there you have it, man. This is me discussing Nneka Ogwumike returning to the LA Sparks and why I absolutely love this move. Remember, y'all, labs good messages or what? Make sure you get your daily dose. I'm an man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.